I had to force myself to attend yet more treatment just to prove to Kaya I was more than capable of doing what was expected of me. I would make this girl want me. If that was the last thing I did. It was driving me wild that she seemed to not want me. Never before had I encountered a she-wolf my age that could resist me. Normally they were falling over themselves to get their hands on me. I was fighting off offers of dates, back in my pack and beyond. Yet this she-wolf seemed to be resistant to my charms, and it was sending me insane. I would need to up my charm. Do what she asked of me, and make her see I was not a bad guy. Anything to lure her to my bed. I would have a taste of her before I was done here. I would be sure of that. Thanks for coming to another session, Ben said to me with an anxious smile. This fool, I swear I could jump toward him and he would shit himself. He was that on edge when around me. It was so amusing. I loved the feeling of power it gave me. Is that not what I am here for? I snarled, allowing my canine teeth to elongate just enough to let them slip through my lips, so he could see them, and he stepped back a little into the wall, the scent of his fear filling the room. I wanted to laugh so badly, but instead, I walked away. I assume I will be back again soon, I asked, turning to look at him, pushing my wolf far enough forward, so my eye color changed too, knowing I would be scaring the fucker even more than two. He sputtered. Yee. Yes. I believe so, Miles, Kaya will confirm. His voice shakily agreed, and I continued back to my room with a smile upon my face, loving the power I had over others. The power that being an alpha brought. It gave me a wolf with so much more power and dominance that most would quiver in fear at their presence. I was beyond ruthless, and so much more powerful than my dad could ever be. And he would come to realize that when he eventually handed the pack over to me. I opened the door to my room. Glad to be back alone, and eternally grateful that Kaya had not followed through with their threat of putting me into a multiple occupancy room. She was trying to gain a reaction from me. I am certain. She seemed to enjoy the power she had here too. That told me that her and I would be an exceptionally remarkable couple, if she would just give me a chance. Both of alpha blood too. We could be so powerful as a pair. I went to lie on my bed, thinking once more of the woman who had been taking over my thoughts since she had walked into my room. It made a change to the angry thoughts of Bailey, that was for sure. But when I returned to my pack, I would be sure to bring that bitch home and make her pay for all this mess. I was here because of her. She had become too bold, too confident, too brave, so much so that she felt she could share the secret I had ordered her to keep. The secret that had brought my life crashing down around me. Risked my title. This had gone beyond me needing her there now for the power her being my fated mate would bring. This was about making her suffer for the pain and suffering she had brought to me because of the damage she had caused by running to her family and my family and exposing my secrets. I would make her pay. And I would ensure she would regret them for every day of the rest of her life. Suddenly there was a knock at my door, disturbing my angry thoughts, and the door opened. A member of staff stood there, brandishing a telephone within their hand. I had not had my phone since the moment I had arrived here, cut off from my friends and my family. All a part of this treatment plan apparently, needing to be cut off from the world. So, I wondered now why they were bringing me a phone. Sir, your parents wish to speak to you. I do believe Miss Kaya informed you earlier. The lady said nervously. I nodded, suddenly remembering that was why Kaya had said she had come to my room, and I put my hand out to take the phone from the anxious-looking member of staff. Snatching the phone from her hand as soon as she was close enough. Hello, Miles. My dad's voice greeted me. Hey Dad. When am I coming home? I demanded, hoping he would see sense and decide that this treatment option was not the right thing once he saw. I had given it a go. Miles, you know why you are there. This treatment is to help with your anger issues, the problems you have been having. We need to try to help you, or else we will have to consider your position. You know that, my dad said. Sounding far too calm for me, he had no intention of changing his mind then. He was still listening to my Uncle Donovan, Jordan, and Ellis over me. All the people who had taken Bailey's words over my own. I sighed angrily. What is happening in the pack? I asked. Pack is all fine. Nothing to report. You need to focus on your treatment, then we can consider bringing you home. Finding you a mate, seeing as you chose to reject the one the moon goddess blessed you with. My dad said, and I am certain there was spite in his voice when he spoke. Did he not like the decision I made? Was it not my choice to make? I did not want Bailey, and that would never change. Yet even my own family were set to punish me for not wanting her. They would punish me for the mistake of the moon goddess. I felt fury rippling through me as my hands began to tremble. I could see the staff member who had brought me the phone watching me curiously from across the room, like they were partially listening in. I looked across at her. I had a sudden idea. Excuse me. This is meant to be a private conversation with my family. An alpha, so can you leave the room, please? I demanded angrily to the staff member, and once again I allowed my canine teeth to elongate enough so they were partially visible, and the fear was visible upon her face. She looked like she wanted to cry, only making me want to laugh. Sorry, she stuttered, quickly rushing from the room, her scent of fear lingering as she closed the door, only making me smirk even more. Miles, do not speak to the staff like that. My mum suddenly spoke up. They are there to do a job, and they are only trying to help you. Well, they do not need to be standing around listening to my conversation with you. I snapped. Show your mother some respect. She does not need talking to like that. My dad snarled at me, so I assume nothing has changed then. I snarled right back. Did he think I would be backing down to him? Nothing was changing from me. I was not going to change. I would remain the same. They needed to change their views on this whole situation. I was the rightful heir, and they needed to accept that. Ellis would never be alpha. I would kill him before that happened. What are you expecting to happen? Miles, you know the situation. You were there for treatment, which we heard you were reluctant to participate in. So we are glad you changed your mind on that. But until we are happy there is positive change, and you have a suitable and secure mate bond, we will not make a choice. My dad said bluntly. And with that, I hung up the phone. Not wishing to hear another word. He was fucking clueless. I looked down at the phone within my hand. My plan fresh within my mind, as I dialed a number I had long since memorized within my mind. The phone rang for a few moments, making me on edge. I needed to hear her voice. I needed to feel the thrill of terrifying her. She had always been scared of me before. Suddenly, the ringing of the phone stopped as she answered the phone. Hello? She answered, sounding more than a little uncertain, though I wonder if that was because she was not sure who had called her. But the sound of her voice filled me with rage and all of my anger spilled out of me. So, thought you'd got away from me, did you? I hissed at her, all my resentment and rage pouring from me. I hated this bitch, and it was about time she knew it. I may be away from Pack for now, bitch, but I will be back, and when I am, I will make you pay for the shit you have caused Bailey. Mark my words. Difference will be? I will have a new mate by my side, and you will be all alone. I could hear her breathing quicken at my words, telling me my words had scared her. But yet, she never said a word. What is wrong, Bailey? Cat got your tongue, I asked sarcastically. Not like you not to have something clever to say, that is your thing, isn't it? Being the all-intelligent girl, well, your intelligence won't be saving you this time. And with that I hung up, not caring if she had an answer for me or not. I had given her something to think of. My words would have been enough to scare her, and that was thrilling enough. Bailey had thought that in running away from me, she was free. But I would bring her back. Her hell would only just be beginning. I sat back into the curve of the sofa as Bailey answered her phone, giving me an awkward smile as if to apologize. But I simply smiled in return, showing her I did not mind. I realized she was likely waiting for news from her pack, so taking a phone call was not an issue. Nobody would be expecting her to be sitting with me at this time of night, so that could well be why they had called. It was only as her eyes widened, and I looked across to her and saw her hands shaking, that I began to pay better attention. I could hear the words being said at the end of the phone, simply because she was sitting so close, and because of the fact that our hearing is so enhanced as werewolves. And I did not like what I was hearing, and needless to say, neither did Zion. So thought you'd got away from me, did you? A voice hissed nastily at her, and I could see the fear in Bailey's eyes at that moment. She looked absolutely terrified, and I realized in that moment I hated seeing her scared. I may be away from pack for now, bitch, but I will be back, and when I am, I will make you pay for the shit you have caused, Bailey. Mark my words. Difference will be, I will have a new mate by my side, and you will be all alone. Zion was suddenly more than alert, and he was snarling within my head. He did not like what he was hearing. I knew he would not shift while inside of my home, but I could feel his presence rippling beneath my skin. He was angry. He did not like what he was hearing, though. Neither did I. Who the fuck was talking to this sweet girl that way? I clenched my fists in anger, so desperate to grab the phone from her and yell at the person at the other end of the phone. Was this her former mate? Or was this someone else bullying her? Either way, I wanted to rip them limb from limb. My eyes fell on Bailey, and I could see she was fighting tears, so I knew I needed to stay calm. I did not need to scare her with my anger. She needed support, reassurance. She needed a friend right now. I would find out who this was and help her with dealing with them. Speak with Eden about it too. That would be the right thing to do, right? That is what a good friend would do, right? Hell, I don't know. I don't have many she-wolves for friends. As I moved to place my arm upon her back to ask if she was okay, the voice at the other end of the phone came again, sounding just as nasty. What is wrong, Bailey? Cat got your tongue, he asked sarcastically. His voice sounded venomous and so nasty. Whoever he was, I hated him already and wanted to make him pay for scaring Bailey. She did not deserve this. Not like you not to have something clever to say. That is your thing, isn't it? Being the all-intelligent girl? Well, your intelligence won't be saving you this time. Suddenly the line went dead, and I saw the phone slip from Bailey's hands to the floor, clattering as it hit the wooden floor under our feet. But Bailey sat like she was frozen in time, staring ahead of her, and I knew in that moment she didn't know what to do. I quickly moved across the sofa to her, placing my hand upon her back as she dropped her head into her hands. Bailey, this is going to be the most stupid of questions, but I don't know what else to say. I warned her. But are you okay? I gently ran my hand up and down her back in what I hoped was a reassuring gesture. I am so not good at this sort of thing. Zion was pacing my mind, angry and desperate to protect the new she-wolf to our pack. My senses now turned upon their head. All I can feel from him is this overpowering urge to protect the she-wolf sitting next to me. Where has that come from? I barely even know her. Bailey slowly turned her head to look at me, and I could see tears in her eyes. I think I should go, Asher, she whispered, and my heart dropped at her words. She was going to push me away now. I wanted to help her, and she wasn't going to let me. I knew that Zion wouldn't settle with that scenario either. She needed to let us help. I felt desperate. I ran my hand through my hair in frustration. Bailey, please let me help. I tried, but she simply shook her head. I am fine. It is just a misunderstanding, she said, chewing her lower lip anxiously, going to stand. But despite her words, I could see she was visibly shaken. Telling me she was anything but fine, I stood up alongside her as she made her way toward the door. I quickly grabbed her hand, trying to stop her as she did, but she pulled it away. Gone was the carefree atmosphere that had been between us moments earlier. She seemed tense and on edge. She was nervous and anxious about something, but whatever it was, she did not seem willing to share it, and that was not just bothering me, but it was seriously affecting Zion too. He was whimpering loudly now. "Bailey, please?" I tried once more as she moved down the hallway of my home. "Asher. Thank you for tonight. I had fun. But really, I should go." "I need to go now," she said, and despite her trying to hide it, I could hear the wobble to her voice. "Bailey, I opened up to you earlier. I haven't done that with anyone for a long time. I haven't trusted anyone like that for a long time. Maybe you could do the same with me. Try talking to me. Maybe I could help you," I suggested, hoping that me admitting to her that I hadn't trusted anyone the way I had her and opening up the way I had might allow her to see that she could talk to me. Yet she tilted her head slightly as she leant against the front door. "I never asked you to do that, Asher," she said quietly, and I can't explain why, but her words sting. They hurt me more than I expected them to. "Fine. Just go if that is what you want to do." "I am sorry I overstepped the mark," I snapped, opening the front door for her, closing it a little harder than was likely necessary as she left. I dashed away as I heard the door closing loudly. I know I have hurt his feelings, just as he seemed to be opening up to me too, but I couldn't stay, not after he had heard all of that. What would he think of me now? He was such a strong man. I did not want him to think I was weak. Hearing Miles talk to me in that way would change the way he thought of me without a doubt. And I was terrified it could put my position here at risk. I rushed to my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. My heart felt like it was pounding within my chest. I could feel Akira's presence, and she felt on edge, whimpering and broken. Much the same as me. She had been allowing herself to get closer to that man. I was sure of it. She had felt for him when he was struggling. And that was unusual for her. Why did Miles feel the need to call me? He was meant to be secure, and in treatment was he not? So why was he able to reach out to me? None of it made sense. Though I suppose the reason why was easy to answer. He wanted to torture me. That was always his reason for his nastiness toward me. Always his reasoning for his vileness. I had naively hoped that the treatment would make some changes in him, turn him back to the boy he used to be. But I think Jordan is right. He craves the power being the alpha brings, and the fear it instills in people. And that makes him dangerous. What I don't understand is why he had to make me suffer. I was willing to walk away. Allow him the life of power and freedom he desired. But he seemed to want me there. Not as his mate as fate had planned, but more as a toy to torture. I stripped my clothes off and walked into the shower, needing to scrub myself clean. Hating everything about me right now. This was not the life I wanted for myself. But it appeared to be the life I had been given. The life I was born into. I quickly washed my body and my hair, before rinsing myself off, trying hard not to allow my mind to wander. I did not need to let myself think of home, and the mess that would await me if I was forced to return. I quickly turned the shower off, stepping out and grabbing a towel as I did. I put on my pajamas and walked back to my bed to hear my phone ringing once more. My heart began to pound, fearful of the thought it could be Miles again. So I tentatively walked to my phone only to see it was Luna Eden. "Hello?" I almost whispered, my voice a little hoarse. "Hey Bailey. I can't sleep, so I thought I would get the down low on how my little host has done today," she said, her voice full of enthusiasm, and I couldn't help but smile. She was checking in on Asher. That was a little crafty. The thing was, if she wanted me to drop him in it, I don't think I could. He turned out to be a lot sweeter than I had ever expected him to be. Did you not think I might be sleeping? I suggested. You answered. So probably not, she said with a chuckle, which I suppose was logical. So did my beta behave today, or do I need to give him a lesson in how to interact with other people? I lay myself on my bed as I smiled at her words. He likely could do with a lesson in that, as it definitely did not seem like it was his specialty. He did okay, considering you forced him to come and check on me, I joked. He told you that? She said with a giggle. I could see her character being quite likable, endearing even as a friend. I could see why Asher thought so highly of her. Well, that is a big cross by his name. In all seriousness, he has tried hard to make me feel welcome. As have the staff at school. I enjoyed my day. Thanks for wanting to check in on me, I told her with a smile. She was certainly going to a lot of effort to make sure I fitted in within her pack. For that, I would always be grateful. It meant I had a haven to escape to after everything with Miles. No worries. Though I am not too fussed with the ladies at school, I had no doubt they would welcome you with open arms. Just cranky pants I had my doubts over. Honestly, Luna Eden, he did fine. He checked on me before I started. And when I finished work, it is pretty clear he does not like having to talk to people he doesn't know, but I don't take that personally. The Luna began to laugh at the other end of the phone. Well, you are not wrong. But he is not too bad of a guy. Really, there is a sweetness under all that darkness and moodiness. You just got to rummage around a little. She giggled. I shook my head. Anyone would think she was trying to sell him to me. I will bear that in mind, I said quickly, feeling a little uncomfortable, considering I had already seen that he could be more than a little sweet just moments earlier. Anyway, how are you doing? I asked. I want this pup out now. He must be the size of a full-sized werewolf now. Sure, feels like it. His feet sure feel like it when he kicks me, she said with such emphasis in her voice couldn't help but snigger. You are uncomfortable then. Do you know it is a boy? I suddenly realized she had said him multiple times. Number just assuming with the way it is kicking the shit out of my insides. A little soccer star in the making. You could have a little female soccer star, I pointed out. Very true. Either way, they are getting their eviction notice pretty soon. I have cooked them long enough. Besides, they can't be comfy anymore. Do you ever think they are comfy in there? I questioned, wondering about the pictures you see of a baby in the womb and how squished they always look to me. And I heard Luna Eden sigh. Who knows, but I know I am not comfy. My belly is stretched as stretched can be. Docs have said if labor doesn't start naturally in the next day or so, they will induce it. So Minnie Caleb will be here soon, she told me, her voice now sounding exhausted. I think it is safe to say she is finding it all a bit much. It may be a mini Eden. You sound fed up though, Luna. Are you okay? I asked, worried about her. I love the thought of a new baby. And to some degree I enjoyed my pregnancy. Just the end bit terrifies me. I get uncomfortable, and then actually giving birth scares the shit out of me. Knowing that is imminent petrifies me, she said, and the enthusiastic voice was now gone, replaced by a shaky and vulnerable-sounding voice. Seems even a strong and powerful Luna has her own fears and weaknesses. I think I understand that. You will be in the best of care, though, and you will have a gorgeous little one at the end of it all. The pain is temporary, but that gorgeous pup you will have at the end of it will be yours forever. Someone to love and adore, and make you proud. Thanks, she sniffled. I think you can stay. Your pack isn't allowed you back. You will be my new friend, she said, and I found myself smiling. I wish it was that simple. I sleepily walked down the stairs after very little sleep. Yet again, this time, there had been little to no visions of Isla that I remembered. My dreams were overtaken by visions of Bailey, and not in a pleasant way either. Visions of her being tortured by a man I could not see, a man I could not identify, yet his voice was the one on the phone. I woke up multiple times drenched in sweat, struggling to settle, because I was desperate to go and check if she was okay. Yet, I knew I could not. Knew that I had to give her the space she had wanted. She had not wanted me there. I needed to know who this man was that had spoken to her like that. The moment she had rushed from my suite, I had been on edge. Zion was the same. The urge to protect her was like nothing else I had experienced, and it unsettled me. This girl is not my mate. She is technically nothing to me. Not even a pack member. But, for some reason, her vulnerability and weakness had affected me and my wolf. And hearing the way that fucker had spoken to her had ripped through my heart. I had realized then I wanted to help her. Yet she had refused my help. I needed to know more, and I would find out more one way or another. From how he spoke, and the things he said, I can only assume this man was her former fated mate. The man that had been foolish enough to reject her. I had lay there for so long trying to process the things she had briefly mentioned since her arrival, which may help me decipher who this man was. I knew she had not been willing to give much away, but had said a little without realizing. I knew he had rejected her. He must have some power over her. As she had said, he had been stopping her searching for a job out of the pack. That had to make him a senior role within their pack, to my mind at least. That would also explain to me why he felt he could dictate where she went and what she did. Could he be their upcoming alpha? That seemed the most obvious to me, and it would be a likely pairing too. Now, that could be an interesting turn of events, because if I am not mistaken, the way their pack worked, along with so many others, was that the alphas were not expected to reject the mate fated to them. That was considered a sign of going against the moon goddess, disrespecting everything we stand for as werewolves. If Bailey had been fated to the Lotus Shadow Pack's upcoming alpha, like I am beginning to wonder, then this meant their pack must be in disarray if they had learned of it, because their young future alpha had broken one of their main laws. So was he even able to be their alpha anymore? And listening to the way in which he spoke to Bailey, he did not sound like a man I would want in charge of a pack. As I reached my office door, I could see Caleb approaching, a big beaming smile upon his face. Evidently, all this additional time off to spend time with his family was doing him good. "Good morning, he greeted me enthusiastically. "I heard you did a good job at being the hospitable host for our new teacher," he winked at me. I rolled my eyes at him. "Good morning to you too. Do I assume your delightful mate has been checking in on me yet again?" I opened my office door, in desperate need of a coffee, especially if I was going to have to deal with Caleb in one of his irritatingly cheerful moods. "Perhaps she called Bailey last night," Caleb said with a shrug as he followed me into the office. I quickly turned to look at him. "Eden called Bailey last night? What time? Was she okay?" I asked, so many questions flooding from my mind, wondering if she had mentioned anything about what had happened with her former mate. Caleb had sat himself down on the sofa in my office, and now he looked at me with curiosity. "Oh, really? Am I missing something? Was there a little more than welcoming the new girl that went on Asher?" I felt anger rushing over me. How fucking dare he imply I tried it on with the poor girl? I did not think of her in that way, and I knew for definite she would not be looking at me in that way either. We were far from being compatible. "Don't be so fucking ridiculous," I snapped. She had been upset when I passed her in the corridor, but she wouldn't elaborate as to why. I lied. Caleb nodded, looking at me with suspicious eyes. "Is that right? Great. Now he thinks I have a thing for the new teacher." Just what I need. Especially if Eden gets a hold of that piece of information. She will be doing all she can to match make, and that is just not going to happen. My mate had been Isla. I was destined to be with her, and fate had chosen her for me. After her, I was doomed to be alone, live a lonely life on my own. Yes, that is right. I do not like seeing someone upset, especially if it could bring trouble to our pack, Caleb. But I assume you looked into her past appropriately, did you? Her family history, mate, etc., I demanded, hoping this way Caleb may look into things for me. I don't know. I left it all with Eden. She seemed pretty determined to have Bailey working here. Caleb said with a shrug, like he wasn't even concerned, only irritating me considering the things I now knew. So no checks were done then? I demanded, and I saw Caleb puff his chest up at me in a dismissive motion. Not a clue. She is a beta's daughter, Ash. Not like she is going to be causing problems for us. She seems sweet enough, obviously got you hooked already. He winked at me. Zion sharply and unexpectedly pushed forward, causing me to growl, causing Caleb to look at me with his eyebrows raised. Not in the slightest bit intimidated by me nor my wolf. Oh really? He boomed. Back off, Zion. Well, do not imply I am sweet on some fucking new girl to pack, just because I am concerned about her when the truth is, I am on edge for the safety of our pack. You are questioning my loyalty to Isla in even suggesting that. I snarled, turning away from him, my fists clenched, moving toward my coffee machine. Ash. I was messing. And it is not questioning your loyalty to Isla. She will always be your mate. Caleb's voice was softer now, as he joined me by my side. A look of concern upon his face. I am sorry if you saw it that way. It was meant as a joke. But even if you did choose to look for another mate, there would be no shame. You know that, right? That is not betraying Isla. What you had will always remain precious. She will always remain your fated mate, and you hers. Fated by the moon goddess. But I doubt Isla would want you alone and isolated forever. Not when you were so young when she left you. His hand was upon my shoulder as I messed with the coffee machine, sorting it to allow me to make my morning coffee. Desperately wishing I was anywhere but here, and able to avoid this conversation. His words were gripping at my heart. They hurt. I would always be Isla's. I could not think of myself as somebody else's. That to me made it feel like I was forgetting her, betraying the bond we had. And I don't think I could forgive myself for that. Well, that is irrelevant, Cal, because it isn't happening. Least of all with the new girl, so back off, right? I said bluntly, while Zion stalked away, curled up in the far reaches of my mind, his emotions such a mess. I waved off the last little ones from my class at the end of another fun day in school. 2 days in, and I was loving this place more and more. The children were a constant source of happiness, and I could not help but smile in their company, despite how broken I had been feeling inside. And Ally and Gabby were both very sweet ladies too. Both tried their hardest to make me feel welcome. Thankfully, there were no more unexpected visits from Asher today. After last night, I don't think I could cope with them. I could only imagine what he must be thinking. I had barely slept once I had come off the phone to the Luna. Tossing and turning, thinking of everything Miles had said. I didn't know why he had decided to reach out to me. I planned to message my brother once I was back in my room today to let him know everything. Also, it would give me a chance to try to discover if anything else was happening in Pack, and if any more progress had been made. Because, for some reason, nobody seemed to want to keep me updated. Hey Bailey. Gabby stuck her head in the doorway of my classroom. Everything okay today? She questioned as she watched me tidying my classroom. Yeah, all was good. I smiled back at her. Good stuff. She walked away, leaving me in peace to prepare my lessons for tomorrow, before I finished work for the day. I didn't really feel in the mood for sitting chatting and gossiping in the staff room, like her and Ally seemed to. I wanted to be alone, especially right now. I know that wasn't the best way to establish my place within the school, but for now it was going to be the way it was. Because thanks to Miles, my head was simply not in the right place. It didn't take long for me to have my work done once I got into it, and with me fully focused on it. So, I picked up my things and walked out of my classroom and headed for the main door of the school. "Ah, are you off, sweetheart?" Allie's voice called from behind me. As I turned, I saw her standing at the doorway of the staff room, watching me. "Yeah. All done for the day," I told her with a smile. "We'll see you tomorrow." She nodded, returning my smile. "You look tired. Get home and put your feet up. You want me to get Mark to bring your dinner to your room," she suggested, taking me by surprise. Was she trying to find excuses for Mark to spend time with me? That seemed a little odd. "No, thanks for offering, but I will be fine," I told her, definitely not liking the idea of a man I barely know coming to my room. Ally grinned in response. "What about the beta? I am sure he would be happy to help." I frowned. Here it was again. The implication there was something between me and Asher, all because Luna Eden had urged him to come and check on me. Anyone could see that man was far from interested in me. In anyone, I would say. So why Ally and Gabby felt the need to keep going on about it, I didn't know, but it was beginning to irritate me. "Most definitely not the beta, thank you," I snapped, before pushing open the main school door, only to hear chuckling from the staff room. No doubt Gabby and Ally, finding my response highly amusing. "You best not be telling them King Sociable invited you back to his lair to share his chocolate stash then." Akira decided to begin with her little quips, as I began walking along the path from school. Imagine the drama, because I imagine he doesn't do that for just anybody. I rolled my eyes at the rubbish my wolf was wittering. She seemed to like winding me up, though last night she was the one whimpering over Asher, if I am not mistaken. "Don't even go there, Akira, or I will put a block up with you again," I warned her. "Think the happy one is rubbing off on you, you know. You have been putting a block on me a whole lot more since meeting him," she tells me. "Akira," I warned, to be greeted by a giggle. "Just saying," she giggled. "He gets happier, more smiley, and you get more grumpy. Go figure." I decided to ignore my wolf and her little digs while I increased my speed as I walked through the pack, enjoying the late afternoon sunshine as I saw a few of the children from school playing in the nearby play area, squealing in fun, making me smile. I turned along the nearby road that led to the pack hospital, having promised Luna Eden I would call in to visit her after work today. I think she was getting sick of the same four walls of her hospital room. Not to mention seeing the same people. She had near enough begged me to visit. So, I had been to the store and bought her some magazines and some treats before work, and had planned on heading to see her as soon as I finished work. The pack hospital was busy as I entered through the automatic doors and walked down the corridor, only to bump into Alpha Caleb. His face lit up into a smile as he saw me. "Ah, Bailey, right?" he said, stopping in front of me. "You on your way to see Eden?" he asked, and I nodded. "Yeah," I agreed, unsure what else to say to him. "She did say you were coming. Come on. I will take you up to see her, then you know where to go. She will be happy to see you. Think she gets bored with the same faces," he said with a chuckle. "Thanks, Alpha." I nodded at him, feeling awfully uncomfortable as I don't know the guy particularly well. "No worries. I hope you are settling in okay. We would have liked to have been there for you a little more, but this little one is being a right little pain in the butt. Though Eden says it isn't doing anything to me. Like I'm not worried about her and the baby." He grinned. I smiled, feeling a little awkward at his words. feeling like I didn't really know them well enough to comment. I am sure you are both worried. Baby will be worth it once they have arrived. Oh, for sure. The alpha has the biggest smile on his face as he says that, telling me he is super excited at being a dad for the second time, making me wonder if he was even aware of Luna Eden's fears of everything that was approaching, having walked down what felt like a serious maze of corridors, which I am sure all hospitals plan their corridors like to confuse you. We arrived at the end of a corridor, with a doorway, to what looked like a suite. The alpha opened the door, and walked in, and I heard Luna Eden speak as he walked in. Didn't you just leave? I couldn't help but smile at her, and even more so at the alpha's response. Abla, and I love you too, baby. So lovely to see your bright and beautiful face. He stuck his tongue out and blew a raspberry at her before continuing. However, I found someone on the corridor I thought you might like to see. Alpha Caleb motioned for me to come into the room, so I awkwardly walked into the modernly equipped hospital room, where Luna Eden laid on the bed, looking hot and bothered, and far from comfortable. Yay, Bailey, she said, full of enthusiasm. I smiled in response to her, ready to say hello as I heard a chair near the side of the bed scrape, and a throat clearing, making me look across, only to find Asher sitting there, about to stand, looking uncomfortable. I will get going, Eden. Leave you to spend time with Bailey, he said, avoiding my gaze. What? Luna Eden said with surprise. You just got her, Ash. Don't be ridiculous. I can hold a conversation with more than one person at once, you know. I know it may be beyond your abilities, but I can manage it. Asher was now standing, like he still intended. Honestly, sweetheart, it is fine. I will let you spend some time with Bailey. I can come back later. The atmosphere in the room was uncomfortable. To say the least, Asher could not wait to get away, all because I walked into the room, it seemed. Luna Eden was now frowning. Sit down, you idiot. You only just got here. Don't be so rude, she snapped. And I realized then, there was no denying that things with Asher were more than a little awkward, and he suddenly seemed to want to avoid me altogether after what had happened last night. Seemingly my prison. Now I was on strict bed rest. It was getting more than a little boring now. Tiresome. Repetitive. If this baby does not come out soon, I am going to start pushing and hope for the best. I don't care if contractions have started or not. I will force the little bugger right out. I don't think I could stretch anymore, and as much as I love my mate, he irritates me. Killing me with kindness, not to mention stupidity. Ah, Bubble, does it hurt when the baby does this? When the baby pees inside of you? Where does it go? Comments like that were becoming a regular occurrence, and I was running out of patience. Though his favorite comment lately had been, you know they say sex brings on labor. Oh yeah, because I feel incredibly sexy right now, oozing sex appeal from each and every pore. I am the size of a beached whale. I swear he brings that thing near me again anytime soon, and I will chop it off. It is because of that thing I am in this much discomfort. It is all right for him. He sticks it in, wiggles it around a bit, gets his kicks, and he's good to go. Me. I am the one struggling for months after. Okay, I may turn into a pregnant monster. So unsurprisingly, when Asher or one of our family or friends calls in to visit me, Caleb takes a break from sitting with me at the hospital and goes to check in at work or with Maddie, our little one, who has been spending time with our parents more in recent days. So, to see Asher walk in, looking even more moodier than normal, I wasn't entirely sure I wanted Caleb to leave, but he still took the opportunity. But I guess I couldn't blame him when I had just given him a hard time for suggesting a little fun in my hospital suite's washroom. Hey, sweetheart. Asher leaned over to give me a half hug. He wasn't keen on personal contact, so I allowed him that much. Besides, I was far too warm and uncomfortable for a proper hug. I brought you some fruit, he says with a smile. Wonderful. I will add it to the rest my family brought. We'll be able to open a shop soon, I said, realizing a little too late how ungrateful and sarcastic I sounded. Fortunately, I knew Asher wouldn't care. He nodded as he sat himself down on the chair next to my bed. I expect a cut of the profits then. And I found myself smirking. You okay, Ash? You look even less happy than usual. Wow. Cheers, Eden. You have such a nice way with words, you know, he said with a roll of his eyes, telling me he was not open to talking about it. I have known him long enough to know his body language. Something was bothering him. But Asher was like a closed book. He rarely talked about his problems or the things that worried him. It bothered me because I think he would find himself so much happier if he just opened up to someone. Always happy to help, I said with a smile. So, how are things in the pack? Any gossip? I asked, desperate for something exciting. I was bored as hell sitting here each day with nothing going on. It was as exciting as watching paint dry. Not a clue. You know, I don't pay attention to gossip, Eden, Asher said with a shrug. Geez, Ash. I need to train you better. You are no good as a messenger. I rolled my eyes. A messenger? So I am a messenger as well as your host now? He snapped. I looked at him in surprise. Was he actually angry at me over that? At the end of the day, that was part of his duties as Beta. He knew that. Asher, what is up? You know that is your job too. Bailey is nice enough. Do you and her not get along? I urged, and just as he was about to answer, the door to my room opened only for Caleb to walk back in. He had only just left. Did he get bored and come back? Or did he get lost? Even I don't think he is that simple. Didn't you just leave? I asked him with confusion. Caleb grinned at me sarcastically. Oh, Bulla. And I love you too, baby. So lovely to see your bright and beautiful face. He stuck his tongue out and blew a raspberry at me, the cheeky fucker, before continuing. However, I found someone on the corridor I thought you might like to see. He had my attention now. I know I had asked Bailey to come, so I wonder if it was her. Though would she have finished her work by now? Caleb motioned for someone to come into the room, and as he did, Bailey walked into the room looking more than a little uncomfortable. Bless her. Her eyes fell on me, and she smiled, so I grinned back. Yay, Bailey, I greeted her. So she knew I was pleased to see her, and there was no reason to feel uncomfortable. But then, for some reason, Asher began to move on the chair next to the bed, and began to clear his throat, just as it looked like Bailey was about to speak. I will get going, Eden. Leave you to spend time with Bailey, he said, appearing to be avoiding everyone's gaze. What the hell was wrong with him? I had been trying to make Bailey feel less uncomfortable. Yet the moment she walks in, Asher acts like this. I swear this man needs classes in how to interact with people. He was never this bad before. What? I asked, unable to hide my surprise. You just got here, Ash. Don't be ridiculous. I can hold a conversation with more than one person at once, you know. I know it may be beyond your abilities, but I can manage it. Yet Asher appeared to ignore what I had said and continued to stand, evidently still planning to leave. Honestly, sweetheart, it is fine. I will let you spend some time with Bailey. I can come back later. I couldn't help but frown. What was his rush to leave? Sit down, you idiot. You only just got here. Don't be so rude. I couldn't help but snap at him. His behavior was downright ignorant. I had already asked him to welcome Bailey to the pack and make her feel like she was welcome. Yet this could not be further from that. Asher fidgeted uncomfortably on the spot, still avoiding the gazes of us all, and now I could see Bailey was looking uncomfortable too. Right, fuckface. I snapped through the mind link at Asher. What is going on because I asked you to welcome the new girl, yet she arrives and you are wanting to get away as soon as you can? Did you do something you shouldn't? You better not have had an argument with her already. You and that fucking temper of yours. Oh, back off, Eden, Asher responded. Mindlinking with her in the room is rude. Is it not? Fine. If it bothers you so greatly, I will stay. Don't expect me to talk much, is all I will say. Asher dropped himself back down into the seat he had been sitting in, his face sulking like a toddler throwing a tantrum. I swear this man was like an overgrown man-child. A bit like his best friend in Alpha. The pack was being run by two oversized children. I looked at Bailey, hoping to salvage the situation. I want her to like it here. She could be good for our school. Plus, I genuinely liked her, and thought we could be friends. How are you? Did you have a good day? Is everything good with you? She smiled awkwardly, glancing over at Asher as she did. Something seemed to be going on here. I didn't know what it was, but I swear I would find out. I am forced to sit in the hospital room with Eden and Bailey, when all I want to do is be alone. I had planned to call in to see how Eden was doing, and if there had been any update as to when they planned to induce her labor, and thought I might try to cheer her up with a little fruit hamper made by one of my mother's friends. Needless to say, with the delightful mood Eden was in at present, that had gone down the same way a gift of an atomic bomb would have done. But still, Caleb would have some tasty snacks when he had to sit and listen to her complaining when he was spending time with her. I am usually happy to sit and spend a little time with her, chatting, giving Caleb a little chance to go home and take a shower, visit Maddie, or do some work. I know he hated Eden being on her own, and, other than returning home to sleep, he ensured that she had someone with her all the time at the hospital. So she wasn't lonely. In truth, Eden would likely appreciate the peace. But the moment Caleb walked back into the hospital room with Bailey in tow, I wanted to escape. All my thoughts have been of that bloody girl of late. Messed up thoughts too. Worried sick about her, trying to uncover who that had been at the end of the phone the other night. I mean, I had my suspicions, but they had been exactly that, suspicions, and without Bailey willing to talk to me, I couldn't confirm them. But it had truly got inside my head the way he had been with her. The way it had affected her, hurt her. Nobody should be talking to her like that. I couldn't understand why he had felt he was okay to speak to her like that. And what bothered me greatly was what sort of threat he posed to Bailey now. She was in our pack. And then came the even more punishing questions that I struggled even harder to answer, as to why my wolf had reacted the way he had to her. Why he had felt such an urge to protect her. Yet, I couldn't lie. I had felt the same urge and a pain when she had pushed me away. A sense of betrayal to Isla when everyone kept trying to imply there were feelings there. I don't know her well enough for there to be feelings there. I know that much, but something I do know, for the sake of my own sanity, and likely that of my wolf too, it would be better for the two of us to stay apart. She had been through enough, it seemed, and she did not need any additional complications of rumors being started by the likes of things being implied by others, nor did she need me upsetting her with my temper. So, I sat in almost silence while Bailey chatted enthusiastically with Eden. Her face lit up as she smiled at her. Her eyes almost sparkled as her delicate features changed as she smiled. I couldn't help but notice how well the two of them got along. She saw a potential friend in her. She had lost her friend, Kezia, late last year during childbirth, and she had struggled every day with it since. She didn't have many other female friends, and I knew that she was often lonely. That was why she clung so desperately to Caleb. Maybe when she realized she got along so well with Bailey, she thought there was a potential for a new friend, someone to connect with. A friendship, something she had been missing, because, in that regard, it would likely do Eden good. I raised my gaze momentarily at the sound of the two of them laughing. Well, I bought chocolate, Bailey said, wiggling her eyebrows toward Eden with a big smile, offering her a bag. And magazines. See? This girl knows what gifts are. Not fruit, she winked at Bailey before sticking her tongue out at me. I rolled my eyes at her. Once again, you are welcome, Eden. Did I ever tell you about this guy I once knew, Bailey? He was so happy, cheerful, and a delight to know, Eden began. With a sideways glance toward me, I had a feeling this was coming right back at me. Bailey looked at Eden with curiosity and shook her head, always the joker of the group. Fun to be around, and always smiling, kind, caring, and the sweetest guy you could ever meet, Eden said with a smile. Wouldn't believe he turned into this old grumpy bastard, would you? She motioned her head toward me with a grin. I shook my head. I knew the moment she started with her insults she meant me. This was just the sort of thing we did. Her, Caleb and I. It was how our friendship was. Thanks for that, Eden. Love you too. Pretty sure Bailey wasn't after my resume. Eden chuckled. Well, if she was, it would go something like that. Would it not? Asher Alcott, beta of the pack. Grumpy old bastard with a face to match. Dark and mysterious with a face like a smacked ass. Face sure to crack if he attempted to smile and no clue how to mix with other people. Interaction with people limited. Do not expect conversation. If you want help, bring chocolate to bribe. Bailey was looking down. I could see her biting her lip. I don't know if she was trying not to smile or she was feeling uncomfortable. But this sort of teasing was usual for Eden and I. It was nothing I wasn't used to, and it truly didn't bother me. Sounds like a perfect man. I smiled sarcastically at her. But if I am so unappealing, am I excused to leave now? Geez. Anyone would think I held you here at gunpoint. Ash, just go if being here with me is so bad. Eden dismissed me with a flick of her hand. Do me a favor though. Ask Caleb to bring me my hospital bag later. They are probably going to try inducing labor tomorrow. I sighed. I couldn't really be angry with her. I knew she was worried about it all. And who wouldn't be? She had to push a little pup out of her any day now. That had to be scary. Let alone having to do that with Caleb by her side trying hard to encourage her, which would likely be more an annoyance than an encouragement. No worries. Anything else you need? Sweetheart, I asked, a way to fast forward time, so baby could be here. And I didn't have to go through labor, she said with a smile. I wish I could do that for you, Eden, I truly do. But despite my mean and moody looks, I don't hold any magic skills. You will have the best care, and you know you will. You did amazing when you had Maddie. I reassured her, and I saw tears in her eyes while Bailey was sitting on the edge of her bed, her eyes darting between Eden and I. I hated seeing her struggle. I knew this birth scared her so much more than Maddie's ever had because of what had happened to her friend. But he was massive, Ash. This one is even bigger. I am sure of it. And I have to push it out of me while Caleb stands there and makes weird panting and puffing noises trying to help me breathe. Or he is telling me how gross things look, she said, looking like she wanted to cry while I was somewhere between wanting to reassure her and trying not to laugh at her telling me what Caleb is like when she is in labor. That did not surprise me in the slightest about my friend. He was like a big child sometimes, as much as he is a complete idiot sometimes. Sweetheart. You know, it is only because he is excited, and sometimes his mouth works before his brain. Tell him you have heard of a thing called a silent birth, that way he won't be able to talk at all. I winked at her and she chuckled. Ash, you are funny. She smiles at me, wiping away a lone tear slipping down her cheek. Not bad for a grumpy old bastard, I guess. I shrugged. I will leave you ladies to it. I will chase that mate of yours down. Get him to hunt that hospital bag of yours down. Maybe even give him a hint about what is appropriate to say when your mate is in labor. before I go out for my run. Okay? Eden smiled once more at me, while Bailey briefly looked at me, a small smile on her face. Though whether that was for me or not was hard to tell, but she quickly returned her gaze to the floor, like making eye contact with me burned her eyes or something. I don't think things would ever be as they had been in my home with her again. Not that it would stop me worrying about her. She feels like part of our pack now, and I think that was why I worried about her. Yeah, that was it. The same as I would worry about any pack member. I am certain that was why. Another day of treatment. They were becoming repetitive, but if I forced myself, they were almost bearable, and it meant I got to spend at least a little time with Kaya. I got to see her smile, see the way her eyes lit up as she laughed. Feel the way my heart warmed if I was blessed with a giggle, or a little sideways glance through her long lashes. And it meant I was moving toward my end goal of leaving this place quicker. I requested additional sessions each day, shocking the therapists. But they didn't see my plan. If I had the additional sessions, it made it more likely they would see me as completing their bullshit program sooner, and allow me to leave earlier. Completing the program earlier had become my main goal. My second goal had become making Kaya mine. One way or another, I had briefly spoken to Ellis, who had told me he had been training. Not just regular day-to-day training. Oh no, this was a full-on hard and fast training that only alphas were sent on. The specialized alpha training. Hearing that infuriated me. My younger brother was training for a spot that was rightly mine. That told me that my parents were taking this consideration of allocating him as alpha seriously. And I could not have that. I needed to tread carefully for the time being. Do all they asked of me to ensure I got my title. Got my role as alpha as I should always have done. Unfortunately, my parents nor my best friend had chosen to contact me since, and were not willing to answer my calls either. And, when I inquired with the treatment center staff, their answer was simple. They believed no contact was the better option to allow me the no distraction approach to enable me to make this treatment a success. I swear these people pulled their answers from their asses because they were most definitely full of shit. I was getting sick of them all, but I did all I could to hold back on taking my frustrations out on them. The struggle to control my temper was a daily hour-by-hour battle, but one I needed to maintain, or this whole thing would be for nothing, and my title would go to my fucking brother. And I could not allow that. He had done nothing to deserve to be alpha. Another session done. I believe, Miles. Jonah, another of my therapists, said to me with a smile. I had noticed that since reining in my temper and showing my willingness to cooperate and complete their shitty program, the staff were less on edge around me, and the scent of fear was gradually dissipating. As frustrating as that was because both I and my wolf craved that scent. Looks like it. I nodded. Is it okay to go for a walk in the garden and clear my head? I asked him. This had become my usual escape after my afternoon sessions, as I knew Kaya was so often around in the gardens then, and it gave me an excuse to talk to her. Spend some time alone with her. I was desperate to get her to see the potential in me. Allow her the opportunity to see I wasn't all bad, and that my company was actually quite enjoyable. I would wear her down to the point she was desperate for my company. For my attention. Of course, it is good you see the need for relaxation time, Miles. I think sometimes that little time to clear your head can make all the difference to a clear mind. A calmer mind, Jonah said calmly, making me want to roll my eyes. But I fought the urge, wanting him to think I was being respectful, and I nodded. I rushed off down the corridor of the pack toward the door, which led me to the familiar area of the gardens that I knew Kaya would often sit in the afternoon to do her work on her laptop. But as I approached the garden, I could see she was not alone, and my heart dropped. By her side was an older man, well-built and muscly. His arms were littered with tattoos. I could feel my eyes glaring toward him. already questioning who this mystery man was and why he was with Kaya. She looked comfortable in his company and looked up at him with big, affectionate eyes. I wandered a little closer, desperate to pique my curiosity as to who this man was. But Daddy, you know I don't like doing formal events. Kaya appeared to whine. Oh. This appeared to be the pack alpha. Kaya's father, of course. That would make sense, looking at his build and the way he seemed to carry himself. I had met many of the country's alphas, but in truth I paid little attention, finding them irrelevant to me. They would be below me once I was alpha, so I didn't see the need to memorize them all. If I needed them, then I would make an effort to get to know them. So this man's face was not familiar to me. However, I was desperate to speak to Kaya, and if I wanted to win her over, then surely it would be a good thing to win her father over too. Good afternoon, Miss Carter. I smiled sweetly at her, causing both Kaya and her father to look up at me with curiosity. The alpha then looks across to Kaya with a raised brow and a smirk upon his face. Good afternoon, Miles, Kaya said, with a brief nod in my direction. Good afternoon, sir. I offered my hand to the alpha, who took it in a firm handshake, almost crushing my hand, in what I assumed was an attempt to remind me who was the stronger out of the two of us. Ha! Little did he know just how dangerous I could be if pushed. Good afternoon, Miles, I assume. He smiled. And no need for sir, Alpha Aaron would suffice. I nodded. We don't normally see you across this part of the pack, Alpha, though the gardens are always nice to enjoy when the sun is out. I tried hard to be nice, though already him belittling me the way he did had irritated me. We do make sure our packlands are well tended, much like the pack buildings. Though the garden of our family home is much more pleasant to sit and enjoy. I have to admit, I am merely here to come and visit my daughter. She seems to like to try and avoid me. Oh, now that isn't nice, is it? I smiled at Kaya, trying to tease her a little, while attempting to make it seem I was supporting the alpha. I don't know why you think it is any of your business, Miles. She scowled at me while her father simply chuckled. Nor do I recall inviting you to come and join our conversation. I felt rejected by her snappiness. I knew she did not want me there, and that hurt. I wanted her to want me, and my attempts right now were proving futile. Kaya, do not be so rude. That is not how the daughter of an alpha is brought up to act. Alpha Aaron shakes his head at his daughter with a look of what could only be described as disgust upon his face before looking at me. Please excuse her, Miles. She appears to have gotten out of bed on the wrong side today. Honestly, it is fine. I understand the pressures of being the child of an alpha can bring. It isn't always easy. I looked at Kaya with a small smile, hoping she would see this as me trying to defend her, as well as something we have in common. Sometimes, being the child of an alpha could be more of a chore than anything. Instead, she rolled her eyes while her father quickly rested his eyes upon me in a dark and meaningful glare. Oh, you are the upcoming alpha I have been hearing about. His voice was full of intent in his words, and I don't think I liked it. Wonderful. My plan to win Kaya over and make a good impression upon her father had failed horrendously on both counts. This was not going my way, not in the slightest. I needed to get out of here as soon as I could. Life in the pack was hectic, though everyone was in such a joyful mood at the news that their Luna had given birth to the daughter of their alpha. Their pack had a new pup to celebrate. I had been so busy with things for work that I had yet to go and visit. Besides, I thought it was only right that the family got to spend some time alone together. Not that it stopped Luna Eden messaging me. She was messaging back and forth much of the day and night. It seemed in the pack Luna, I had gained a new friend. Not that I minded. A friend was never a bad thing. And after the way Miles had treated me over the years, I had lost many friends, all taking the side of the alpha. So, this new friendship with Luna Eden was somewhat of a novelty, I had to admit, although she would not let go of the tense atmosphere in the room between Asher and me when I visited her the other night. So frequently asking me what was going on between us, asking what had happened, and why Asher was trying to get away the moment I arrived. But I was not able to explain the way he reacted. Nor was I able to explain how his mind worked. You would think she would know him better than me. She had known him a lot longer, but she had not been able to shine any light upon it either. But we were both in agreement he did appear to be avoiding me, but I had no clue why. I had not seen him in the pack house of a nighttime since, so I didn't really have the opportunity to ask him. Though I had ensured I stayed in my room after dinner. Maybe that was a little childish of me. But I did not have the energy to deal with the awkwardness either. I closed up my classroom after yet another fun day in school. This was one of the few positives of me being in this pack now. I loved my job and the little monsters I was teaching. They were the highlight of my day and constantly cheered me up. But once the day was over, it was back to my usual mundane and miserable life. All alone in my small room in the pack house, doing my best to avoid the mean and moody beta of the pack. I was beginning to wonder if it was the right place for me or not. I was just walking toward the main doors when Mark walked into the school. His whole face lit up as he saw me, and I instantly felt my mood brighten. At least someone was pleased to see me. Now aren't you a sight for sore eyes, princess? He winked at me. Mark, stop flirting with my staff, Ally yelled from the staff room, and I felt my cheeks heat up as I noticed Mark's cheek tinting red slightly too, telling me he was likely as embarrassed as I felt. I don't think he meant it in a flirting way. That seemed to be the way he spoke with me. He chuckled. Can't even say hi, he shrugged. Come to help her, and she accuses me of flirting. Maybe I should just go home. She would soon complain then, when she had to do the repairs on her own. I smiled at his cheekiness. Hi to you too. See, you look so much better when you smile, you know. Anyway, you been avoiding me at dinner time? He asked, leaning against the wall, his eyebrows raised and a hand upon one hip like he was teasing. No. I have been busy with things for work. Doing class preparations is all, so get to dinner later, I explained. Why would I avoid you? He looked down, like he was suddenly uncomfortable, or maybe he doubted himself. I was struggling to read him. Don't know, maybe after the stuff Beta Asher said. I frowned, a little confused. Did he really think I would avoid him? And would it actually bother him if I did? Didn't I eat with you after that? He shrugged, still continuing to avoid my gaze. Definitely a little odd. Besides, I think the beta is avoiding me now. So what he thinks is likely irrelevant. I said without thinking, in an attempt to reassure him I had not been avoiding him. But I noticed Mark looking at me, a look of concern upon his face. He got nasty with you? He isn't like that, is he? I questioned, not believing for a moment Asher would get nasty with those in his own pack. I knew he had a darkness that seemed to overtake him when he was struggling, but I still do not believe him capable of being nasty or hurting his own pack members. Mark raised his brows and shrugged. Did he get nasty with you, Bailey? Angry at all? I shook my head. Number just snapped. Though that could have been my own fault, I likely deserved it. He seemed angry then, and is avoiding me now. Would you not say anything if I told you something, Bailey? He looked at me, suddenly looking so far from the confident guy he usually appeared to be. Right. Come on, Mark. I have got things I need you to do. Ally quickly disturbed our conversation, almost like she had been listening into the conversation and didn't want Mark to tell me whatever he was about to. Mark looked toward me with a sad smile and a little shrug. Guess I will catch you around then, princess. Have a good night. Okay. I will see you both later, I said. Realizing I was going to have to accept I was not likely to get the answers I was hoping for, I quickly walked from the school, my mind a whirling mess as to what he had been about to tell me. I couldn't help but wonder if it was to do with Asher, seeing as we had been talking about him. I could only assume Mark would know him with the fact his sister had been Asher's fated mate. And he had moved to Asher's pack. The last few days, on the odd occasion I had seen Asher around in pack, he had looked down and kept walking quickly, avoiding my gaze as much as he possibly could. It could not be clearer to me, he did not want to be around me. I know I had pushed him away when he had tried to be there for me, but I don't think it deserved this sort of treatment now. We had been beginning to get along. I had even begun to wonder if we could be friends, but evidently, there was no hope of that. With Luna Eden so busy now with her new baby, Asher avoiding me at every turn, and me barely hearing from anybody in my own pack lately, I was beginning to feel increasingly isolated here, and it was starting to bring me and Akira down, making me wonder if taking this job had been the right thing after all. I walked through the pack house doors, just as Asher was walking out, nearly knocking into him, causing him to step onto my toe. I flinched in pain as he quickly stepped off. He looked at me. Momentarily a look of concern crossed his face before it was replaced with a dark scowl. He all but snarled, "Watch where you are going and that sort of thing likely wouldn't happen." He snapped, storming out of the door, leaving me stood watching his intimidating figure rush away, with tears in my eyes. I don't know what was happening with him, but I was liking him, and this pack less and less now, sitting at my desk sorting through yet more papers for Caleb. Who knew an alpha had so much paperwork to do? Thankfully, the baby had arrived now, but I had done the decent thing and told Caleb to take a couple more weeks off to allow him to spend some time at home with his family, bond with his new baby, Freya, and allow Eden some time to rest with Caleb at home to help. Though no doubt she would see it as having him under her feet. Even once he was back at work, she would be inundated with offers of help. But still, I wanted him to have that chance to spend time with his new pup. Those first few weeks are ones you never have the chance to get back, or so I am told. But at least, I know I am getting close to the end of having this additional pressure upon me. Zion is in desperate need of a run. But I have had to cut my daily runs short these last few days with the amount of work that needed doing because I didn't want to leave Caleb with a stack of work to return to. Though I was finding it increasingly harder to focus. My mind so often drifts to Isla, and now Bailey too. But I couldn't solve this thing with Bailey and gain the answers I needed, because she seemed unwilling to talk to me. So, I simply buried my head within the work and did what I did best and avoided people. While sitting at my desk, the phone rang, which always confused me, which likely sounds ridiculous, because obviously that is what telephones are for, to take calls. But everyone in the pack can mindlink, so we so often use that instead, rather than using the phone. So phone calls are rare, unless they are external. So I answered, truly not having the energy to deal with talking to others. "Hello? Autumn Valley Pack, Beta Asher speaking. How can I help?" I said, trying my hardest to sound polite. They would have to make do with that. Cheerful was outside of my abilities, especially today. "Ah, Beta Asher. Just the person, or Alpha Caleb, but you will do," a voice said, and the moment they spoke, I recognized it as the annoying father of Bailey. Wonderful. I was tired, overworked, and overstressed. The last thing I needed to be dealing with was this overexcitable fool. Nothing like insulting me either. With the "you will do" statement, was there I wish I hadn't answered the phone now. Should have gone for a run like I asked you to. Zion snarled. He was getting really snappy of late. Wish I had. Hang up then, and go, he growls. But I ignore him, pushing him back before he tries to take over. Or else he would force a shift, and I would be running through the pack house destroying everything in my wake in my wolf form. What is it I can help with? I forced myself to ask, cutting conversation with Zion. I wanted to see how Bailey is doing. Her dad asked, and I couldn't help but wonder why the hell he didn't just call her himself. She was his daughter after all, and you can't ask her that yourself. I spoke my thoughts, not caring if he liked it or not, yet the weird one simply laughs. See, you have got even happier since I left, he said with a hint of sarcasm, cheeky fucker. But I don't want to be pestering her, and not only that, we have a lot going on in our pack, and I know if I call she will be wanting to know about it all, and then she will be worried about all that. I just want her to be enjoying her new job. I don't expect you to understand. You big buffoon. You aren't a father, but I worry about her, he says. But the thing is, I think I do understand. Because the truly irritating thing is, I worry about her too. May I ask if things are improving in your pack? I said, urging him to share the information, hoping it may answer some of the many questions bouncing around inside of my own mind. No, you may not. Figured as much. So, I assume you don't want to know that someone in your pack called Bailey then. I hinted at knowing some information, in the hope it might make him a little more willing to share information with me. What? He snapped. Are you being serious, Beta? And how would you know that? Because she was sitting with me when the call came through. She would not tell me what was happening, but I am concerned for your daughter, Beta Donovan. I told him. Do you know who it was? He demanded. But I don't let the tone of his voice anger me, because in truth, if I was in his situation, I know I would sound equally as angry, if not more so. He wanted to protect Bailey. And despite the awkwardness between us, so did I. No, sadly I do not. As she ran off, unwilling to give any information, but he was quite aggressive. His words sounded nasty, and they upset her. I ask that you consider calling her to see if she will open up to you, because she would not open up to me. And I assume you will not tell me the issues she is facing, I said, with a sigh. I heard the Beta at the other end of the phone sighing too. I am sorry, Beta Asher, but that is not my place to decide to share that information. That would be Bailey's place if she chooses to open up to you. But maybe I misjudged you. It seems you aren't that much of a bad guy after all. Even if you have a face like a shriveled up lemon, I will call Baya and see if she will talk to me. I have a feeling I know who called her, and if it is him, we have problems, he said, hanging up without so much as a thank you or a goodbye, angering me further, but also leaving me filled with fear for the girl I know I should not care about, but for some reason I am beginning to, and anger for the man who seems to have this hold over her. Zion is rippling closer to the surface now, and I know there will be no pushing him back. I need to go for a run, and I need a proper run. One that gives him a chance to run until he is in pain from exertion. I rushed from my office down the corridor toward the doors of the pack house, fighting with Zion for control. He will be shifting the first chance he gets. He needs this chance to burn off the surge of energy pulsing through him because of the anger he is fighting. I went to push the door open and a petite body slammed into me, with her head down. I assumed she was not paying attention to where she was going, though in truth, I was more focused on keeping Zion pushed back. I realized in haste it was Bailey, and in the impact of knocking into one another my foot stood firmly upon her toes, as I heard her gasp sharply in pain. Zion whimpered suddenly at the thought of us causing her pain, and I quickly retreated with my foot, moving away from her. I quickly allowed my eyes to look over her, trying to establish if she was okay, hating the thought I may have hurt her. But anger rages through me at the sight of her, recalling the pain of her pushing me away, the hurt she caused me, and a scowl took over my face as I snarled, Do you just walk around in a fucking daydream? Watch where you are going. And that sort of thing likely wouldn't happen. The look of shock upon Bailey's face was one I think will haunt my dreams. It was one of terror. She should not fear me, but now I think she might. As I quickly stormed away from her, Zion was now whimpering while I battled my own emotions. Why is she having this effect on me? I cannot get the way she looked at me out of my mind. Perhaps if you treated her a little better, then she would not be terrified of you. You dumb fuck, Zion snarled. Who are you calling a dumb fuck? I snapped. She was the one who threw my offer of kindness and support back in my face. Let me see. You, I believe. You dumb fuck. Do you not like it? I think it suits you. Dumb fuck. Dumb fuck, dumb fuck. Zion chuckled. Zion. I warned him. What? I got more if you would like, he began. A shot? Dick breath. Rumpelforixen. Butt monkey. Besides, you know I am right. You are a dumb fuck for treating her that way. But you keep acting like a poor baby. She was upset and scared. I think it is normal to push people away, especially if she doesn't think she can trust anyone. And let's face it, you hadn't exactly shown her you were trustworthy before that. Fuckwit. Zion hissed. He was getting close to me, blocking him, and he likely knew it with all the insults he was throwing at me. I stormed my way across the path around the back of the pack house toward the tree line of the nearby forest, which would allow me to shift and allow Zion the freedom he needed to take his anger out on some prey and burn of the overspilling energy seeping from him. Well, it was difficult for me to even let her get that close to me. For me to even be that caring, did she not realize that? I snapped once more. Oh, for fuck's sake, Asher. I think she may have had other things on her mind than how you were feeling at that moment. But you acting like this now may mean we lose her. He growls. And with that he is gone. He has blocked me. He is within the farthest reaches of my mind and unreachable. I have pissed him off. But that is nothing unusual. And it isn't the first time. Looks like I am not going for a run. Or perhaps I should say, he isn't. But what bothers me more is what the hell did he mean we are going to lose her? Why would he care? Seeing Bailey crying in the distance as I walked through the pack house, tears at my heartstrings, and I found myself rushing to her as she walked into the lounge. Any awkwardness that had been between us is irrelevant now. As I pull her close to me, her tears quickly dampening my shirt. Bailey, what has happened? I whispered, holding her tight against my chest, so desperate to soothe her. My heart racing with her so close to me, but she says no words, yet I feel her heart racing too as she continues to sob against my chest. I led her to the sofa so we could sit down. I want to be there for her. Let her know she isn't alone. I hate that this sweet girl is suffering, and maybe Zion has been right. Pushing her away may result in her leaving the pack. I pulled her back from me slightly, so I was able to see her face and gently stroke back the mane of dark curls from her face. Her natural hair only adds to her natural beauty. In my opinion, why she feels she should hide it, I do not know. At my touch, she flinched slightly, but her big brown eyes met mine in a nervous gaze. Sweetheart, what is wrong? I whispered, lowering my hand to softly stroke her face this time. Yet I had no clue why. Bailey's eyes dropped to my hand before looking back at me through her long dark lashes, her sobs seemingly easing as she was distracted by me. Trouble from home. You know I will help you if I can, I told her. You don't have to do all this alone. I found myself stroking the soft skin of her face once again, unable to resist. Why? She stuttered. Why would you help me? I am nothing to you, or your pack. He could hurt you. She wiped her tears away before looking back at me. I hooked my hand underneath her chin to raise her gaze to me. "Did it ever occur to you, it is because I wanted to help you," I said, my voice a little husky. "Because I care." She tilted her head in that adorable way she does before frowning, making me smile. She seemed to have an uncanny ability to make me smile without even trying. Or she had done until we started clashing a little. And as for him hurting me, I have my suspicions who it is you mean. But you don't need to worry about me. I will do what I can to defend you, Bailey, and I am sure Caleb would too, if he knew you were in trouble. And he knew I wanted to help. I reassured her, and her face softened at my words, a small smile forming. "I don't understand why you would do that for me," she whispered. "He is dangerous." My hand was still hooked under her chin, so I slid it along her cheek into her hair. But in doing so, I moved her face closer to mine, and she suddenly looked very vulnerable, but incredibly beautiful. Tempting. Zion purred deeply at the scent of her filling my senses. "Is that not all the more reason for me protecting you?" I whispered, my heart feeling like it wanted to beat right out of my chest. Bailey went to shake her head and speak, but I found myself lowering my finger to her lips. "Shoo. You don't need to tell me I don't need to. I want to," I told her, but my focus now isn't on my words, or what she may have wanted to say, but on the fact of how soft her lips feel to my touch, how close we are to one another, and how good that it feels. I moved my finger from her lip, and now Bailey is gently chewing her lower lip, only drawing my attention to her lips even more, as I find myself drawn to her. Suddenly, my lips find hers, unable to resist. Gently at first, do I kiss her lips, and the feeling sent shivers of delight through my body. And she shocked me as she began to return my kisses. Tentatively initially, but soon she began to kiss me with more need, more desire. The kisses became more urgent, as her hands slipped into my hair, gripping it roughly, making me moan into her mouth. Hell, who knew I wanted this girl so badly? Zion is somewhere between purring and growling right now as Bailey slowly teased her tongue inside of my mouth. Finding my tongue with hers, my whole body is reacting to her touch, and I realize just how lonely I have been. Bailey suddenly shifts herself without even breaking our kisses. So she is sitting, straddling my lap, continuing to kiss me with as much need, her hands tugging roughly at my hair before she allowed her hands to drop to the buttons upon my shirt. Her fingers traced the line of the buttons, the skin underneath reacting to her touch as goosebumps spread across my body. Before Bailey suddenly gripped the fabric and ripped it open, exposing my naked chest to her, popping buttons off, causing them to fly off across the room. But right now I didn't care. This girl seemed to want me, and I wanted her. Bailey teased at my tongue with her own, while allowing her hands to slide along my chest, sending shivers down my spine, and pulses of desire ran through me too. I thrust my hip upward, pulling her closer to me to deepen our kiss, while I slipped her tank top over her head, exposing her lacy blue bra to me. This woman was perfection in every way. My breathing sped up at the sight of her womanly curves, desperate to get my hands upon her, but also wanting to take pleasure in every moment I had with her. Asher, I want you so bad, she whispered into my ear, her warm breath making me tingle with pleasure. Heat rushed over me. I felt so warm, far too hot. My head felt like it was spinning at the effect Bailey had upon me, and my heart pounding in my chest. I was sweating. I twisted suddenly, trying to cool myself down as I sat up suddenly, my eyes wide and my breathing rapid as I took note of the surrounding room. I was on my bed, in my room, alone. It had been a fucking dream. All a dream. A realization hit me. Wait. Why the hell was I dreaming of doing things like that with Bailey? My heart continued to pound as sweat drenched my entire body, and Zion whimpered within my mind. No, this can't be right. Surely not. Z, I questioned. Work it out yourself, Asher, he snapped, putting the block up between the two of us, my wolf seemingly equally as shaken by the dream we had just had. Work it out myself. Was there much to work out? I had just had a dream about the new girl, and it was hardly a sweet and innocent dream. Holy shit! I had been called to the main meeting room, and I had no clue why. This would likely not be good. Kaya had been avoiding me since the awkward interaction with her father, and I had no idea why. So I had done all I could to get as many therapy sessions done each day to keep myself busy. I was not used to rejection, and needless to say, I did not like it. Once I was done here, and in my role of alpha, I would come back here and I would show her what she had missed out on. She would come to regret her choice. I would ensure of that. No woman turned me down. I paced the floor of the room for the 10th time since arriving. I hated being kept waiting, yet these fuckers here seemed to like doing exactly that. I was sick of the familiar walls here now, sick of the people and the fact that they had become accustomed to me. Though, the fact I had allowed my anger to become hidden meant they did not fear me the same, so I did not gain the same thrill from them all. So, I gained little enjoyment from being here. I wanted to leave now. Well, in truth, I wanted to leave the moment I arrived, but that was never going to happen. But now, my father could not say I had not done as he had asked of me. I had done exactly as asked. I just hoped there were no more requirements expected of me before they were willing to consider my position as alpha. I was 24 and more than ready to become alpha. So many upcoming alphas have taken their positions by this age, and I think my father was just unwilling to surrender his position. He says, I like the power being alpha brings me, and that I gain a thrill from it. But in truth, I believe he adores the power being alpha brings him, which is why he is so reluctant to let his title go. That is why he is holding back on handing me the title I was born into. But he would soon have to make a decision, or others would be asking questions. I had heard nothing more from Ellis since he had called me in my early days here, to wish me all the best with my treatment, and to tell me he had every faith in my ability to do well in completing the treatment. And, of course, to inform me of his alpha training. Why would my brother want me to successfully complete my treatment if he had the opportunity to become alpha? He would want the role as alpha. Like any sane man would, given an opportunity of that, I am sure of. I would be interested to know how his training went and if he was strong enough to pass it. I know he is strong. He is of alpha blood, being my father's son, but I don't believe he is as strong as me. He enjoyed training but never pushed himself like I had. I doubted he was capable of the things expected of young alphas in their formal alpha training. I truly believed he would fail. And then, where would that leave my father? With no choice but to go with the rightful path given to him by nature. Me. Ah, Miles. You are here. Alpha Aaron walked into the room, taking me by surprise. What was he here for? I have been asked here by the treatment team, yet he is not a part of the treatment staff. I was instantly on edge. Yes, Alpha, is everything okay? I asked, instantly in defensive mode. An experienced alpha, he must have picked up on my feelings, as he looked at me with a smile. No need to be feeling on edge or defensive. Miles, your parents are here to take you home. Your treatment is complete. I took in his words. I was done. Nothing had been mentioned about this to me, yet my parents were here to take me home. My heart was racing in anticipation. I am done? I asked, a smile emerging on my face. That you are, son. The additional therapy sessions you were requesting each day meant you completed the treatment a lot quicker than usual. He told me, as my mum and dad rushed into the room with Kaya by their side, dressed smartly in a simple black shift dress, her long blonde hair pulled back into a high ponytail. allowing all her delicate features to be on display. Her lips were highlighted in a deep red lipstick, only drawing my attention to them even further, plump and full. I wanted nothing more than to be able to pull her to me and have my lips upon hers. Kiss her so passionately I messed up that neatly placed lipstick. I found myself smiling slightly at the mere thought of Kaya and kissing her. Fuck. I wanted this girl. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Davenport, Miles has ensured he completed the treatment as swiftly as he could, likely in a rush to return home to you, but we are happy that he has done everything we expected of him. We are happy to discharge him from our care. But that does not mean he cannot contact us for outreach care. If he needs advice or support, he is more than welcome to reach out to one of the team for help. Kaya says with a beautiful smile towards my parents. I saw my mum smile back. Thank you so much. We thought he was a lost cause. And I felt like dying of embarrassment at her words. Nothing like humiliating your own child and making me sound like a fucking monster. This is a woman I want to be with, and my mother is making me sound horrendous. Oh, no, you should never think that. Nobody is a lost cause. Miles has done well. He may have days when he struggles, but if he reaches out, we should be able to help him so long as he remembers the things we have taught him. Kaya said with a smile in my direction, and I felt my heart flutter from her gaze alone. What the fuck is happening to me? I do not get all soppy-eyed over a woman. I am the sort of guy who fucks him and leaves him, not willing to get into drama with them. All far too much hassle for my liking. Yet this woman seems to have my attention, and I have not been able to stop thinking about her since I met her. Well, you should say thank you, Miles, and we will get going. We have things we need to do. My dad says bluntly, already acting like having to come here to collect me was an inconvenience before he looked to Kaya and Alpha Aaron. Thank you to you both and all your staff. I looked to Kaya, a smile upon my face. Thanks for everything. I tried to remain casual, though I desperately wanted to give her a hug, just to be able to hug her, touch her, take in her scent. No problem. Good luck with everything, she said, before turning and walking away, like I didn't even matter. She didn't even seem to care that I was leaving. Had I imagined there was a connection between us? Here is your support pack, Alpha Aaron said, handing me a small bundle. All your treatment papers are in there, along with the treatment plans used so you can utilize them if needed, as well as contact details for staff if you need the outreach support once you are home. Good luck, Miles. I nodded in his direction with a smile as I followed my mum and dad from the room. My dad already marching his way through the center toward the parking area. He was obviously in a hurry to get away. Right, Miles. We have a lot to arrange when we get home, he says coldly. Oh, so no, well done, son. We are proud of you, I asked sarcastically, a little irritated that neither one of them seemed bothered that I had done the treatment as they had asked of me, with no issues and quicker than expected too, because I had asked for more treatment each day. Why would we be proud? Perhaps if you weren't such a difficult child you wouldn't have needed it, Dad said as he got into the driver's seat of his car with a snarl, telling me he was far from impressed with the whole thing. So evidently, this was not enough for them either. Mum? I tried with her, but she shrugged. I am not sure what you want me to say, Miles. Your dad has just had to see another alpha there. Show weakness to him. With his son and his apparent heir attending treatment, it doesn't reflect well on us as a pack. So, why would he be proud? Think of it in that regard. I am afraid it isn't all about you and how you feel. You may feel you have done well doing some therapy, but in truth, through your actions you have let your pack down massively. My mother's words hit me hard. Who the hell did she think she was talking to? I feel my anger racing to the surface. But I know if I kick off now, I will be carted straight back into the treatment center. So I push it straight back and take a deep breath, climbing into the car, sitting behind my dad. not saying a word, seething in anger. Now you have done that. I do not expect to see your attitude and anger being an issue. Miles, do you understand? My dad said with authority, evidently wanting to show me who was boss. I clenched my fists in fury as he continued. And now we will begin the next step of your reprisal. You will find your chosen mate. You will do a tour of all the packs until we find a suitable chosen mate for you. His words are cold and to the point, but they fill me with dread. I am not going to get a say on this, and I know it, because if I refuse, I am likely to lose my title. The only other option would be to challenge my father for his title. I flung back my office door, my head still a mess from my alteration to my dreams. I was used to vivid dreams, of course I was. My nights had been plagued with visions of losing Isla ever since she had gone, causing me to relive the moment time and time again, feeling the pain as the bond snapped, feeling her slip away from me. And the pain as my heart felt like it shattered into a million pieces. As Zion crumbled inside of me, never to be the same again. But now, this was something else. This was a dream to betray my fated mate, betray the woman I had been blessed by the moon goddess. I had woken wanting Bailey. I had woken thinking I was about to take things further with her, and the thing that terrifies me most is that thought in that moment that was exactly what I had wanted. I had been incredibly turned on, wanted her touch, needed her touch. I was disappointed and terrified all in one go. I had dropped back onto the bed, with tears leaking from my eyes at the thought of what it all meant. What it meant for Isla. Did that mean I had to let my beautiful girl go? I could never do that. She had been made for me. She had died because of me. Had she not been mine, she would never have been in this pack. She would never have been in harm's way. She would never have lost her life. The pain ripped through me at the thought. She had been meant for me. She had died because she was mine, and I should honor that. Me wanting another woman felt so wrong. I felt like I was betraying all we ever had, being disloyal to our mate bond. Despite the fact she was no longer here to respect it, would be the wrong thing to do, in spite of what my body thought it wanted. She had been gone 7 long, lonely years now. 7 long years without my mate, 7 long years of pain. But they would never be enough for the sacrifice she made in being my mate. For, in choosing to be my mate, she had chosen a life here, which cost her her life. Just as I stepped out of the main door of the pack house, I saw Eden pushing her stroller with the new baby. Her face lit up at the sight of me. "Hey Ash," she greeted me, and already I could see she was so much more at ease now. The baby had arrived. I attempted a smile in her direction, but knew I failed miserably when she looked concerned. "You okay?" She pushed the stroller a little closer to me. "See, little Freya wants to know if her Uncle Asher is okay." I nodded. "I will be fine. Come on, we are going for a walk," she told me. "Eden, I am busy," I told her. "Doing?" She eyed me suspiciously, and rightly so, because I had been about to go for a walk to clear my head, seeing as Caleb had been back in the office today, apparently desperate for a break from the kids. Though from what I understood, Maddie was spending the day fishing with his grandpa. Fine. I was going for a walk. I rolled my eyes at her, knowing she had already worked it out. "Well, I shall join you," she told me, "assuming you aren't planning to shift." I could so easily lie and tell her I was. But in truth, Zion has buggered off since the dream and is refusing to speak to me. He is hurting more than he wants to let me know, I think. Which truly doesn't help me in any way. Whatever, Eden. You are about to anyway, I assume. I told her with a shrug. She simply grinned. "Come on then, Mr. Cheerful, you want to push?" She offered me the stroller, but I declined. We walked alongside one another in silence, but I could feel her eyes upon me. "Eden, if you need to ask something, will you just do it? Because you are making me uncomfortable by keeping looking at me like that," she chuckled. Something is bothering you, Ash. I would swear you looked ready to cry before. What has happened? She urged me as we sat on the wall overlooking the pond at the far side of one of the many gardens in the pack. Shit! I muttered, not really wanting to admit to anything. Well, why not tell me? She asked as she checked on her daughter. I will manage, I shrugged, looking at your face and the mood you have been in of late. I would say not. Has something happened? She asked yet again. Are you struggling with things with Isla again? She reached for my hand. She knew how much I struggled with the loss I felt from my mate dying, not to mention the guilt I battled too. I smiled sadly. I guess you could say it is to do with that. Oh, Ash! She leaned her head upon my arm. Isla would hate that you are struggling. You know that. She also would never see you as to blame for what happened. That was not your fault. That was the rogues. And you know it was. Nobody knew that was going to happen. That could as easily have happened in her old pack before she came here. She told me, and I know her words. They are familiar to me by now. This is a conversation we have had so many times before. One of the reasons Eden and I get along so well is she and Caleb were the ones there for me when I lost Isla, and they saw the effect it had upon me. They saw how damaged I was becoming, yet they never gave up on me. What if I am breaking Eden? I whispered, and I felt her raising her gaze to look up at me. In what way, Ash? I feel like I'm falling apart. Like things that I should know, or I feel like I do know, are all in doubt because it feels like my own mind is in doubt. Like I can't trust my own thoughts. I can't trust my own logic. Like I can't trust my own mind. My mind is a mess. Eden, things are slipping out of my control. I don't like it, I told her, trying to put into words how I was feeling, and I saw the fear upon her face. Your anger? She questioned, but I shook my head. Strangely, this time it wasn't my anger. That was still there simmering, of course. I doubted if that would ever go away, but my mind was overtaken with doubt of late. A doubt that I was struggling to trust my own judgment. It was making me question every little thought I had, every decision I made, whereas previously I was so sure of myself. Now I doubted each thought, my thoughts, my commitment, loyalty, devotion. I found myself admitting, in spite of the shame it brought me to say it, that makes no sense, Ash. Who to? Eden is stroking my hand softly. You mean to Isla? She questioned quietly. I raised my eyes to meet her beautiful blue eyes. One thing that I know Caleb cannot resist about his mate, so unusual and rare, and truly beautiful, and something their children had inherited. I slowly nodded, tears filling my eyes. Oh, Asher! She reached up and stroked away a tear that had slipped down my cheek. Your loyalty, devotion, and commitment to Isla had never been in question, sweetheart, and it never will be. You have mourned for your mate for 7 years. You searched for the rogue that killed her for a year after. Her voice faltered as she looked up at me. I looked down, not wanting to think about that. Those hadn't been my greatest moments. I wasn't at my best. Of that there was no denying. It was no wonder my pack feared me at times. But why do you think it is in question? Has someone been on your mind? She probed gently, no judgment in her tone, though I feel she likely knew the truth. She had seen herself how I had been around Bailey while she was the hospital. Eden, please, I do not want anyone to know about this. I told her urgently, desperate that this is not shared. Gossip had of spreading around this pack like wildfire. She smiled, the familiar kind smile of the woman who had become as much like family to me as her mate had. I won't say a word, not even to Caleb, I warned her. I am struggling with this enough, Eden. My head is battered. I don't need others knowing and asking me things I don't even know the answer to myself. She nodded again. Okay, Ash. I won't say a word, but Let me tell you this much. Isla would not see this as you betraying her, nor your mate bond. Your love for her will always be there, Ash, but she wouldn't want you being alone forever. You have been alone for 7 years. She softly squeezed my hand. Isla would never want her boo to be lonely, especially not forever, Ash. I sat looking ahead, listening to the words Eden was telling me. And, as much as I couldn't help but wonder if she may be right, it hurts to think like that. Hurts to think of moving on, leaving my mate behind, but I nodded to acknowledge her words. Smiling sadly across at her, though I do have to say, Ash, if you are thinking there is something there, or there could be, do you not think you should be a little better with her, a little kinder? Or else you might scare her away. Eden says with a playful wink, telling me she is teasing, but her words seem to heavily echo those of Zion, and that scares me a little. Being back in my pack felt so good. The place I was meant to be, the place I belonged, and the place I planned to make my own. Despite not being away too long, it had been too long. This pack was mine, my home and the place I needed to be. This place needed me as much as I needed it. I would be the alpha here, I was certain of that. Of that there was no doubt. But, for some reason, my dad seemed determined to want to have me out of here before I had a chance to get settled again. Off on this search for the chosen mate they seemed to be craving for me. I did not need a mate to make me strong. I was strong enough on my own, or I would be when I brought Bailey home. I needed her close to gain my full strength that the fated mate brought. That was what legend told us. And that was what I needed. I needed my full strength. She needed to be back home. She should never have been allowed to leave, and I needed to find a way in which to do that. Yet, I had not found a way in which to do that yet. Not with my parents constantly breathing down my neck, or Jordan following me around like a little lost fucking dog, watching my every move. I had not found a way, but I would, and even more irritating was her number seemed to be disconnected now. She had gone. Uncontactable now through the number I had for her, telling me that she was intentionally not wanting me to speak to her. So, I needed to speak with her sister. That had been my plan for today, but Morgan was still in a mood with me after our last argument. Miles. My dad yelled from the kitchen, and I rolled my eyes from the place I laid upon my bed. The sooner I could move from this hellhole they called a family home and into the Alpha Suite, the better. We need to arrange these visits. I want to head off tomorrow. He barked up the stairs at me. Wonderful. They really were wasting no time. Tomorrow seemed ridiculously soon. They wanted me marrying off soon. No doubt popping pups out too. Little shitbags. Heirs to this great empire of a pack. Well, this mate they are finding me had best be willing to do all the childcare and upbringing, because kids were most definitely not something I wanted bothering with. But I knew I needed heirs. That would be expected of me as an alpha. So, if my mate could deal with them, then we would manage. I would be the powerful alpha. She could be the mother. It wasn't like I wanted the mate. She was more to keep my parents and to some degree the pack quiet. It was to gain my title, to keep my power. I just hoped we would find a willing mate on this godforsaken tour. I stomped down the stairs to meet him. What? I snapped, taking a deep breath, trying my hardest to hold back the anger that was threatening. It was proving harder and harder to suppress my temper. But I was using the skills they had shown me at the treatment center and battled with my wolf to stop unleashing my rage in order to allow my parents to think I was happy to go along with this. They needed to believe that. I had to deceive them. Then they would give me the title of alpha. Once I had my title, I could unleash my fury. And the pack would be brought under my rule. The pack would be run the way it should be ruled. Pack members would wonder what had come for them. My father's rule would begin to seem like a walk in the park compared to me. The thought sent a shiver of a thrill down my spine. I loved the thought of instilling fear in others. That was what being an alpha was to me. The fear, the power. Are you getting irritable again? My dad raised his brows at me. He liked to challenge me, almost daring me to snap. I am sure he wanted me to fail. I was busy, I lied. What is wrong? I thought we had gone over the plans like multiple times. I complained, glancing at the paperwork my dad had on the table. If he expected me to go through them, I could be here for hours. What did we need to go through that would take so long? It was like repeating the same shit time and time again. All for something I didn't even want. We need to finalize choices. There are plenty of things to discuss. Do you have preference of where we start? He asked with a smile. Oh, so they were actually asking my opinion. So far, it felt like I had no say. My choice would be Kaya every time. But each time I tried dropping her name in, I was spoken over. And I don't even think they heard me. So, she was soon overlooked. I was lined up to see a number of she-wolves of various rankings across multiple packs across the country. I could be gone for months. This is not what I want. This was only going to delay my title ceremony, but if he was asking for my opinion, maybe I could try pushing my luck. Give him my honest opinion on something. Suggest an idea that I have not been able to get rid of for days now. One that I truly think would work so much better than this lump of shit idea they had. Dad, do you not think I would bring more appeal if I was the alpha? I tried. I will take a chosen mate for that. I assure you, I will find a chosen mate while we tour the packs. But do you not think there will be potentially more interest and more volunteers to meet me if I was already the alpha? I hoped he would listen. This could easily work in my favor. My dad gave me a dark stare. But he looked in deep thought momentarily. Was my plan actually going to work? But he shook his head. Do not be so ridiculous. You still have so much to prove before I consider titles. Are you for real? I roared. I have done all you asked of me, and it is still not enough. I stormed from the house, my anger pulsing through my veins, heading straight for the tree line as I strode away. I needed to get away from him before I attacked him. It was getting so close each time he pushed me to the edges of my temper. My heart was pounding in my chest in fury. While I reached into my pocket for my phone, I scrolled through my contacts quickly to find who I was looking for. Clicking the call button, Morgan. I am so glad to hear your voice. I lied to her as her pretty face appeared upon the screen. I was hoping that seeing my face would make her realize just how much she had missed me, and that the sweet talking would make her come around too. She had always liked my sweet talking. I need to see you, darling. I walked through the pack, having left my friends, heading home ready to relax and settle down for the night. When I was shocked to feel my phone vibrating in my back pocket. Not many people actually called me. Everybody used the mind link in the pack. And as of yet, I didn't particularly know anybody outside of the pack, unless of course you count Bailey. But me and her didn't exactly part on the best of terms after she and I argued. I slipped the phone from my pocket and was shocked to see Miles was calling. I had heard he was back, but I had done my best so far to avoid him. The things I had heard of him had me torn. That did not sound like the guy I had been getting close to. The guy who had promised the world he had told me stories of me being his Luna. Running the pack by his side, I was ready to give up everything to him. Never did I realize he had been fated for my older sister. Though his cold words before he left hurt me too. Ew. The thought still repulsed me. Yet I clicked to accept his call, unable to resist. I had missed the deep lull in his voice. And the moment I saw his face appear upon my screen, I felt my heart flutter. Morgan. I am so glad to hear your voice. My heart raced at the sound of it. He was glad to hear my voice. Did that mean he had missed me while he was away? My dad had told me he had told them he wanted nothing more to do with me. Well, he had told me the same. I felt like he had broken my heart, yet, right now, he was back. He was calling me. Maybe he was saying that to protect me. Yeah, maybe that was what it was. He didn't know how long he would be away, or what his treatment would be. I need to see you, darling. His deep voice oozed charm at me through the phone, and I felt like my legs wanted to give way. He wanted to see me. He had missed me then, almost as much as I had missed him then. I gazed at his image upon my phone. He was so handsome. Why could he not have been fated for me instead of Bailey? She never deserved him, Morgan. Darling, you going to say anything or just gaze at me all night? Miles chuckled at me down the phone. I am outside right now, so it isn't like I can give you anything to be gazing at. He winked at me, and I felt myself blushing at the thought of some of the videocam session we had had before things were called off. Sorry. You took me by surprise calling Miles. I thought you didn't want anything to do with me, I explained. Ah, Bubble. Did you really think I could stay away? He teased, slowly running his tongue across his lips, and I felt my heart pounding at the sight of him. You said you would. I say a lot of things when I am hurting Morgan. I was scared is all. I didn't mean it. We had a lot of things we wanted to do together, remember? He raised his brow at me suggestively, and again I felt my cheek heating at his suggestion. But I nodded. There were so many things I wanted to do with him. Miles was the most sought-after guy in our pack. He had been for as long as I can remember. He was the upcoming alpha after all, and he was so handsome. If I could be his girl, nobody would doubt me. Nobody would question me. So, you don't want to deny me, do you? Imagine denying your upcoming alpha? He pouted at me. And you would be denying yourself, Morgan, because you have yet to experience all the things I can do. He winked at me, and my whole body was beginning to react to the things he was suggesting. Where are you? I asked, suddenly beginning to wonder where I could find him, and thinking it might be better going to find him instead of going home. That is my girl. He winked again. Meet me up at the gazebo near the lake. I quickly turned around and began walking in the opposite direction to where I had been going. Rushing to the gazebo. Going home could always wait. Seeing Miles was definitely more important. The thought of feeling him kiss me, or even better, touching me, sent my body into overdrive. I almost jogged across the last piece of grass toward the path which led up to the gazebo, trying hard to calm my pounding heart. Only to see Miles was already waiting for me. Leaning against the wooden gazebo, looking ever the powerful future alpha, handsome and strong in the light of the moon. Watching me with a smile upon his handsome face. Why, hello, Morgan. His eyes drifted up and down my body, before coming to meet my gaze once more. Anyon would think you were in a rush. I felt myself blushing. God damn it. I wish he didn't have that effect on me. Or at least that he didn't know he did. Because I knew he would use it to his advantage. I just didn't want to keep you waiting, I lied. He nodded. That is good to hear. You learn quickly. He smirked, almost evilly. I don't like to be kept waiting. He reached for my hand and pulled me toward him. So all I could smell was his spicy, manly scent. My head and heart felt like it wanted to explode as he lowered his mouth to my ear and whispered. I was tempted to wait for you naked, but I was worried somebody might walk by and see. My eyes widened in shock as my cheeks heated at his words, and he chuckled as he looked at me. Ah, did I embarrass you, Morgan? He softly ruffled my hair. If you want to be my girl, you best get used to the thought of me naked. I like being naked, and I expect a lot of things. He wiggled his brows suggestively, narrowing his eyes as if to portray some hidden meaning, and for a moment I was a little scared. Miles suddenly turned his back on me and walked into the gazebo and sat on the seating within it, looking up at me. Don't just stand there then. You are getting pretty boring pretty quickly, Morgan. I am beginning to remember why I finished things. I think. He chewed his lower lip angrily, and I began to panic. Is that why he ended it with me? Because I was boring? No, I didn't want that. Nor did I want to be a disappointment to him. Any girl given this choice would do exactly as the upcoming alpha asked of her. This was the most desired man in our pack. Of course, I do as he wants. Even if I am a little unsure, he knows what he is doing. I have known him for all of my life. He would never hurt me. I quickly went to join him on the seating and smiled at him, trying hard to act confident. So, you glad to be home? I asked, and I realized the moment I said it how stupid I was, because the look of sheer disgust upon his face spoke 1,000 words. Oh no. I fancied spending another few months there. Really, treatment is like a fucking holiday. Shit, Morgan. Think before you speak, will you? He rolled his eyes, turning away from me, and instantly I felt so small and irrelevant to him. Was this how he made Bailey feel? Sorry, I muttered. Whatever. He grunted. Do you have your sister's new number? He suddenly demanded, taking me by surprise. Huh? Why the hell would he need Bailey's number? He hated her, right? My dad and my brother had fought so hard to get her away from the pack, or so I am told. It was only recently I had discovered this, because it seems my family are exceptionally good at keeping things from me. But they had done a fucking good job of getting her away. All because of how Miles had hurt her. So, why would he want to get in touch with her? Oh, I know you are aware of the problems we had. But, as you know, I have had treatment now. I feel so much better, but me and her were never a good match. I want to apologize for how I treated her. But I think she changed her number, right? His voice was suddenly back to being charming once more as he looked at me, and I could see no anger in his face. He looked like he was being genuine. This would make sense when he had been through treatment for his anger, I guess. And everything he is saying is true. He and Bailey were never a good match. The moon goddess messed up with that mate bond, of that there was no doubt, but I sat quietly unsure of what to do. She had recently changed her phone number. I know that. My mum had told me. Not that I spoke to her, but I did have her number in case I needed it. Darling, come on. You know me. You trust me, right? He slowly slid his hand up my thigh and my whole body shivered in shock. I thought I was going to die from the effect his touch had on me. Ooh, you like that, he whispered, as he lowered his mouth to my ear, teasing at the earlobe with his tongue, making my whole body tremble. I moaned, unable to stop myself. So, did Bailey get a new number? Miles stopped mid-lick to ask, and I turned to look at him. A little irritated he had stopped, but desperately wanting him to continue, so I nodded. You have her new number, right? I nodded once more. Anything, so he would continue what he was doing. Yeah, I whispered, my voice trembling as I felt a wetness building between my thighs, and he had barely even touched me yet. He passed me his phone, fully stopping what he was doing now. Type it in there for me. I need to put right my wrongs. That was part of what they taught me in my treatment. He looked at me pleadingly. Then I will see to you. He winked. And I quickly snatched his phone, using my own to copy my sister's number over to his, before looking up at him, ready to have him send me to heaven. But, instead, he quickly stands. Thanks, Morgan. Have a good night. And with that, he walked away. Miles fucking Davenport leaving me with tears in my eyes as I realized he had duped me. All to get my sister's number. What sort of fool am I? He never liked me at all. I should have known that.